I don't know if you know this, but 84% of working adults experience burnout as compared to their counterparts. This includes high-profile individuals, creatives, and fellow entrepreneurs.
Wow, that is a really high number.
Pretty high, yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to GlowTalks Studio. I am thrilled today to introduce you to Crystal Joseph. She's a clinical therapist and founder of Psych Your Mind, practicing here in the DC region. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me on GlowTalks. I'm so excited to share.
Yeah, so this is actually a topic that we are going to share with you guys, and we're talking about burnout, and especially for high-performing individuals. Like, I feel there are so many people in this region who are potentially even suffering from burnout and may not know it.
Have no clue.
This topic is very close to me and my heart, and I'm just thrilled to share with all of you. Let's get on with it, yes. Right? First of all, I just want to say thank you for coming out to one of my recent events. I thought it was so inspirational of you to share that you have a new practice as an individual sole proprietor to go out to different events that you may not know where you're going, who's going to be there, but you're out putting yourself out there to network and meet new people.
Yes.
So I thought that was really fantastic and very inspirational. And I'm so thrilled that we were able to entice you to make it all this way out to Virginia.
Yes, thank you. I truly appreciate it. And I needed to get out of my armchair. It's a bit isolating in private practice. And I said, okay, Crystal, where can you go? Who can you meet? What can you learn? I think it's a good thing to learn and keep an open mind and an open heart. And so I appreciate you having the event. What was it, February?
Yeah.
And a beautiful event for women and self-care. And I just enjoyed the promise. And here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And like, little did I know what a wealth of information you are. We've had a couple of meetups since.
Yes.
So I was really just thankful that you could take the time to come out and share with my viewers more about your practice.
Yes.
So I understand that you are working with a lot of like even creatives and performers, high performing individuals.
Yes.
So not just in business, but in other
industries. In my tenure, I've seen artists, videographers, as well as those who are sharpening their creative muscle, who were ushered into the traditional job role, and now they want to do something different.
Okay. No, I love that. So let's talk about it, like burnout. I honestly, without getting too graphic,
Sure.
I feel that myself have been feeling just the candle burning at both ends, and without my husband and raising 3 teenagers and the business and the podcast and everything else, I feel like some days I don't know. Am I depressed? Am I anxious? Am I just worried or scared? Or like maybe it's burnout. I didn't even think about that, honestly, until we started talking.
Yes, absolutely. So there, it could be a little bit of both or all three.
Yeah.
Burnout is not necessarily biological or psychological in nature. However, depression absorbs constellations and hallmarks of burnout, right? So one is the chicken, one is the egg, and one sits on the egg.
Yeah. Like, what comes first, right?
Yes. So burnout is traditionally occupational, concerning the World Health Organization. And so the American Psychiatric Association refused to put it in my diagnostic manual for diagnosing. And they got into a tete-a-tete it's been about a decade at this point. And a lot of people were experiencing burnout. Some of the research comes out of Europe. And it was like, hey guys, what are we doing? And I was seeing it on my couch. I was experiencing it, during the pandemic myself. And to your point, it's like, what is my issue? What is the problem?
Yeah.
And so burnout has certain characteristics that supposedly are fixed with rest.
Okay.
As a clinician, as a researcher, I'm not so sure that I agree with that per se, because I don't think that we rest in the way that we should based on the society and the system that we live in.
Yeah.
So then you get into the depressive category. And so
Because you're not really getting real rest.
no, we wake up, somebody's calling for you, mom.
You look at your phone.
Yes.
It's like 1,000 texts and emails.
Yes, and you're ripping and running. The DMV area, we have a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
So it's very iffy sometimes, and it's just go 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 go. So okay, you get home. And what is resting then? You're changing your clothes, you're eating good food, but how are you shutting your mind down? How are you resting? And then the mind-body connection, which we've discussed before.
Yeah.
How are you getting both to kind of collaborate with each other to say, hey, I'm at peace, it's okay. And then are you actually sleeping for the 7, 8, 9 hours that you need to get up and do it all over again?
Yeah. No, I mean, I found myself one morning just overwhelmed. I was tired. And I woke up, my body woke me up early. It wasn't even that it was a thing that woke me up. And I said to myself, okay, I need to go back to sleep for 2 more hours. And really, like, I am tired. But as I, did all the things, even just making myself comfortable, using the restroom, putting my sleep mask on to, not have light coming into my eyes, for the life of me, I could not fall back asleep. And then here I am thinking about the 1,000 things that I needed to do that day or that were looming, or things that I'm like, okay, in the next month or in 2 months, I have to have all this stuff done and
Exactly. And that is a prime premier hallmark of burnout. Restlessness, the internal feeling of ineffectiveness,
that's the worst.
a bit of a disillusionment with what you have to do, whether it's something you're choosing to do or slightly forced to do, maybe. But responsibilities, adulting is not the easiest thing. Motherhood, all of those things. And so your body said, hey, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
The silk mask isn't going to help.
No.
You've eliminated. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So, I mean, I think at that time, I the disillusionment that you mentioned, like, I felt like, well, how am I ever going to get all this done? And even if I did X, Y, and Z, is it really going to be the solution? Like, at a certain point, even I'm psyching myself out of like, even though I'm going to take action, because I know myself, if I get up and I just start taking action, right, whether it's right or wrong, the action, it helps to kind of alleviate the pressure in the mind that I'm like, okay, here's the next best thing. Here's the next one thing I can do to get closer to my goal. Even then, I almost like my mind is, well, that's not going to work. Well, don't do that because they're going to they're going to say this, or this is what your response is going to be.
Yes.
It's almost like I'm just talking myself out of it, right?
Absolutely. The way our brains work, it's so interesting. There's a protection factor there. That is a little bit of what anxiety will do, where it tries to pre-program what's going to happen down certain timelines. If Doctor Strange situation. And one of the things that I like that Pixar and Disney did with Inside Out 2 is discussing how anxiety actually can help and can hurt in various ways. And so with what you're doing is you're trying to be predictive, but action, to your point, is the best solution for that. Whether it comes out in the paint correct or incorrect,
right?
Just do it. Please, just do it.
We can't be like so committed to whatever that outcome we think should look like, and just be more committed to just taking the action and the process through it.
Correct. Right. Yes. And then, you learn, a lot of times people feel like failing is an indictment on their character, right? But failure is feedback. It's providing feedback, echolocation, static, whatever it is. It's telling you, hey, this didn't really go well. Redirect, pivot. Here are some things that could be possible. Find the solution.
And that's okay.
And that is okay.
Like, it doesn't mean you're a failing human.
No.
It just means that whatever that choice was or action you took wasn't the right way or path to get to where you want to go.
Yep.
It's so hard to like embrace that.
It is. And I think it's because we're pre-programmed to do the best thing, the right way the first time.
Yeah. Like not waste time.
Not waste time. And I agree, time is limited. I work in time. I feel time differently as a therapist, but you have to give grace. You have to give space for, the inhale and the exhale and the stretching of yourself through life and personal development, and knowing that this might be par for the course or grist for the mill, and that's okay.
Yeah. So going back to like feeling or having as a clinician, tell us, okay, what you're experiencing is burnout versus depression versus anxiety. I know there's no category for it, right? Like, just like you said.
Yeah. So, if I may, a little bit of the psychological nitty gritty. So, I was trained on the DSM-4 TR, that is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Disorders, and the fourth edition text revised is what TR stands for. I believe in 2020 they came out with the fifth edition.
Okay.
When they published the fifth edition, they deleted some pages, and those pages entailed psychosocial stressors. That is where I put burnout. So when someone comes to me, sits on my couch, and we go through life stressors, life events that aren't so great, or even some really fun things like planning a wedding is stressful, but it's a good thing, right, in our society. I'm able to kind of differentiate and separate. There is something that I like to call anxiety-informed depression, to your point, and it creates this vicious cycle of, I don't feel like it, I can't get out of bed, I'm disillusioned with everything. I don't want to do activities anymore. And then because you're not partaking in things that brought you joy before, now it's, oh my gosh, my parents are going to be mad I didn't show up for dinner. And oh, I didn't turn this assignment in on time. So then the anxiety creeps in, right?
Yeah.
So then you get to that point and then you're like, oh, just forget it. I'm no good at anything. And then you seep back into that mood and that depression. So
that's the social
yes,
pressurizing part of it.
The cyclical. And so environment plays a huge role to your internal mindscape. And so burnout, she's a little bit over here, if you will, but it's all encompassing. And so there are some short form assessments, differentials, and actual tools that I have to use along with data. Like whatever you bring to me and you say, hey, Crystal, this is what's going on. And we're going to talk about spiritual. We're going to talk about social. We're going to talk about how you grew up. Any traumas that you have, what is going on in your world today, and also
like self-expectation because of the trauma.
Yes.
Okay.
And how far and how deep and wide is it? And where are you now? And where would you like to go? Some people don't want to open the door, and that's okay. I'm not going to pry and poke. I have to put a ribbon back on you and, like a surgeon would, and send you back into the world. I don't want you wide open.
Yeah.
And it takes a certain skill to do that in 60 minutes to kind of close it back down. But I want people to know that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to sit on a therapist's couch. It's okay to pray, to go to church, like all of the things we can work together. I believe God blessed me with, this calling on my life, to be a blessing to others, but also help them navigate some of the trials and the waves of life. So.
Yeah. And I can see in myself, like there are certain parts of my life, though I was doing and performing at high levels, like I was more equipped or able to like take the hits as they come. And then at other parts of my life, not so much. Right.
Yeah.
And some of it is just, I think, even our own ability to deal with uncertainty, grief or things like that, like triggers and from emotional trauma from the past. But I do believe that there is a way, and we can make a way. If we don't see it clearly, we can reach out, like you said, find help when we need it, and just continue to advocate for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Right? In that vision of what we want to see for our lives, or fulfilling our purpose. Now, I mean, as a high performing individual, sometimes I have a hard time just sitting in what we're saying, like healing or taking time or self-care.
Yeah.
I think you had coined this term of a radical, like implementing self-care is a radical act of
Yes.
self-love,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
Because it's so hard. I'm telling you, like, for me to just sit down and be like, oh, it's fine, and all of that stuff can wait, but I'm just going to sit here and out in the sun and just drink my coffee and play with my dog. Like,
It's like, but you should be sending an email.
yeah.
But
Like,
yeah.
well, what about this? And what about that? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what do we do?
It creeps in. So, continue. So it would be microdosing, right? So in the
Okay.
same way, maybe your brain starts to ramp up at minute 15, but you should create micro, points in your life where you can do 5 to 10 minutes of tea in the backyard with the kids, with the dogs, with the pets, something that brings you joy. And then as soon as your mind starts, you're like, okay, fine. But what happens is eventually you're retraining your brain,
Okay.
and you're putting in stop gaps, and then that time period can increase. So you'll go from 5 to 15, 15 to 30, 30 to 60. Next thing you know, you're on an unplanned vacation and you've left it all behind
Okay.
to rest. So I think it's important to give yourself grace in that process, because we're not built that way.
Yeah.
We weren't trained to
And everyone's
rest.
different.
And everyone is different. So if it's not coffee in the backyard, it could be, I need to listen to 20 minutes of a podcast or a couple
Music.
of my favorite songs. Yes, I surround myself with music.
No,
I love
music I think is so incredibly healing.
Yes.
Sound frequency therapy.
Yes.
And I mean, we think of this as kind of just like a foo-fooey and blah, blah, blah. But honestly, after even singing out loud, I've learned for training, like
Yes.
for my, throat chakra.
Yes.
Thanks to my good friend Oksana. I think you guys have probably seen her on a podcast, but just understanding like what it takes for you as an individual to
Yes.
unplug, and like you're saying, just for 5 minutes. And if you have to set an alarm to start,
Yes.
like make yourself do it for 5 minutes, you can eventually increase it because your body will see it and recognize it as a true healing time.
Absolutely. And another thing, or visual, to your point about different learners and different types of people, if you want to go old fashioned, I love a sand timer.
Okay.
Because you can actually see the grains of sand falling. And also you start to re-respect the entity of time, if
That's
you will, visually. And so, yeah, I agree. I
Well,
have
and
to
it's amazing,
practice.
like you said, like even practicing as a practitioner, your sense of time is different than
Yes.
another person's. And I found myself too, like I can get so lost in my mind or in my tasks or whatever. And then I just don't even realize how much time I've just, in my mind, wasted on stressing out about something that's like, it's not even real.
Yeah, yeah. No, and it's a wild phenomenon, if you will. Like when I have clients, like say Thursday to Thursday, I'll say like, didn't I just see you 2 days ago? Because it feels like I'm being thrust, like just pushed, because certain things are anchored in your day, like your meal times or certain standing meetings, but then other things are in flux.
Okay.
And so I think a great tip is to decide what can be anchored in your day, what's a must, what's a need, and then what's in flux, what's in flow, what can wait till next week, what can wait until tomorrow.
So like prioritizing.
Yes.
I do like building a schedule for myself. So I do think that this is a really great tip for anyone who is experiencing or have experienced burnout, or that they have a very thick and heavy schedule.
Yes.
Right? So get a few things in there every week that are going to help benefit you over time.
Absolutely.
And then the rest of it can be like prioritized. I've worked with a business coach as well, who's helped me to say, like, look, these are your 3 top things. If your day-to-day activities don't point to those 3 top things every day, even if it's 5 minutes attention toward that thing, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel like, oh, I'm missing the boat, or I've missed this, or I haven't done that, So I think writing it down, your top 3 prioritized things for that week, that day, whatever it is, it will help you to overcome and then retrain your brain.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And another tip that I use, especially as someone who the general public assumes that every emergency is my emergency. I play a little bit of offense on the weekends, and I don't suggest this for everyone, but on Sundays, I'll sneak into my inbox and I will schedule my emails to go out the next day or so many days later. And what this allows me to do is on Monday mornings, I can run my Monday instead of my Monday running me.
I like that.
Yeah.
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 Well, and then then you can just be. And
Yes.
sometimes some days, which could be like a heavy day of
Oh,
having to answer things and get
yeah.
back to people and whatever, it's already pre-scheduled. So the things that are the most important and the highest priority, you already know in your mind, today that's already being done. And if I need this extra hour to go get myself together, you can
Yes.
take it.
Yes. I call it putting yourself in timeout. Just like you put a little one in timeout, there are going to be some days that aren't so great, and it's okay. It's part of the human experience. I think because we move in a space where we are recognizable, we have front-facing businesses, we are entrepreneurs, we have political connects, if you will. You have to be mindful of how you show up. And so when I've had a rough day, if something has triggered me or incited something in me, I put myself in timeout, and it could be for the whole day. Like I might reschedule sessions.
Yeah. And it's hard to do.
Yes, it's very hard to do, but you have to do it.
I have learned actually that has helped me, that even though 3 weeks ago I made this full day schedule because these are important things to me. If I show up that day and I am not feeling it and I know I'm not going to show up to my best self, it's taken me a lot to be able to do it. But yeah, sometimes I have to cancel. And sorry to whoever I've had to cancel on. I really apologize, but it's you're not going to get the best Jess
Yeah.
if I try to do that day, and it's not okay, right?
Yeah.
But for me, it took me a lot to get over that hump mentally of being like, hey, listen, I'm really sorry. It's just not going to work out, but let's reschedule for another time or whatever.
Yeah. And that self-awareness is key. I I think I applaud it because of where I sit as a trained therapist, but just offering others grace. You never know what someone is going
That's right.
through. And I don't think people are being wishy-washy or phony or fake. People need to reschedule. People need to reset. They need to rest. Maybe they have to start over. It's okay.
Or it might be an emergency, right? But I do, going back to what you said, not every emergency is your emergency to take care of.
No.
It's tough, right? And especially in this day and age, right? We want to perform at our highest. We want to take care of our clients. We want to be there for everybody, right? Because we care.
Yeah.
And I was talking to somebody else about this. It's it would be just easier for me to be like, I actually just don't care and just bye. But I don't. I'm not that way.
Yes, yes,
right?
you do care.
Right. And so for me to be like, oh gosh, I can't do this today or whatever, it's tough.
Yeah.
But we can care. And this is where that radical act of self-care and self-love becomes so important.
It is.
And in overcoming, some of these burnout periods that we might find ourselves in.
Yeah, because if I don't take care of myself, how can I take care of you?
Yeah, exactly.
It just is what it is.
What about let me ask you this. I do find even taking a vacation, I feel guilty.
I do too. You're not the only one. Is it just me? No. I last year, last year sat me down as an entrepreneur. I did have surgery. And because of the ethical and legal nature of the work I do, I have to put supervisors in place to run the practice and all these things. And I said, I'm just going to be out for 2 weeks.
Right.
And my body and my doctor was like, I think not. So I was out for more like 4 to 6. And I felt so guilty for being home under doctor's orders on bed rest. Wild, just absolutely wild. And I wish we could continue to unlearn this faster, but do it at your own pace.
Yeah.
But whatever you can, however you can, it is okay to rest. It's
Yeah.
okay to take a vacation, whatever it is.
Yeah. And then mentally also tell yourself that you're not going to be stressed and worried and all this stuff
No.
while you're supposed to be on vacation.
Yes. And I think it's good to your point about having support, having relationship, community, automations, AI, whatever it is, because some things unfortunately are going to have to run without you, or they may have to stand still.
Yeah.
And that's okay too.
Yeah.
But I think as a small business owner, certain resources aren't as accessible to me, or I'm just unaware, I'm ignorant. And so I've had to learn, okay, what automations to put in place?
Yeah.
Who do I call for this?
Yeah.
What resource do I need for that so that I can do these things
Yeah.
and succeed in my healing and in my resting so that I can step back into it and keep running.
Yeah. No, and I mean, honestly, this reminds me of a sign that I saw at Johns Hopkins when we were just there filming the podcast with Dr. Lipson, the oncologist. And there's a sign and it says, impossible just takes a little more time.
I love that.
You know, and that's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. Because nothing is actually impossible. And we have so many resources out there. And it's just about like asking the right questions, maybe doing a little research,
Yep.
or ask a friend or just reach out, right?
Yeah. Ask the question.
Yeah, ask the questions. Because there are a lot. There are a lot of things we can do now that we didn't have 20 years ago.
No.
The AI and the automation and all of that stuff. Let's use it to our advantage.
Absolutely. I
know?
agree. I agree. And I think, in my world, there are certain ways I can't use it. I'm like,
Sure.
I'm a little jealous of the people, like the breadth of how AI can be used. But, and I've deemed AI a her, so I use her as like a virtual assistant in a way. And like, hey, can you create a schedule for me? Can you do this? Can you do that? And she's pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Some of the societal things starts at a young age. I remember Talented and Gifted program. I was the year class president. I'm in the middle of planning our reunion this year. And it was very much like, these are the things that you must do. These are the things that are required of you. Did you do your homework? Did you do your dishes? I worked for a real estate attorney, actually, my senior year of high school.
Okay.
And so it was always rewarded when I completed something. And this is no shade to my family or anything, but it's just instilled in you at a young age. And then, you become an adult and you operate with that same umph and that same speed. But to what end? Because the hand claps aren't as loud. The flowers aren't as beautiful. They want more and more and more and more out of you. And you're tired or you don't want to be bothered or you're burned out or you're possibly depressed. And there's a lot of change currently going on. And I think people are trying to figure out up from down. I know you were talking about ballroom dancing earlier and like, being where your feet are. And that's kind of hard to do right now sometimes when there's uncertainty. So
you're out of balance.
Completely out of balance. And so I want people to know, find that harmony, find that joy, find that balance. If it means you leaving a few dishes in the sink overnight and you'll get to them tomorrow, do that. That's okay. That's okay.
No, I mean, I actually, at a certain point, being a stay-at-home mom for many years and just being the main caregiver for the family, there was always this pressure. And I mean, I did it to myself too. My German background and, even my husband and the Swiss German stuff and just everything should be perfect all the time. Well, one day I actually was like, you know what? I'm glad we have dirty dishes because that meant we cooked a meal for the family and we all ate and we were all enjoying our time afterward. And so guess what? If I am not feeling joy of doing these dishes right now, I'm just going to leave it until tomorrow. And yeah, there were days where it like literally collected. I'm not going to lie. It was a mess. But I just felt that it was my mental health was more important than the dirty dish in there.
Absolutely. And I'll admit, I cooked for Easter and the dishes maybe sat a day or two.
Yeah.
I just, I needed a break.
And that's okay. And that's okay. As long as we don't have anyone showing up on our home and be like, wow, what is all this dirty dishes here?
Unannounced.
Yeah, right.
Like,
right.
White glove
Well,
test.
even then, like that's where we give grace to ourselves and grace to others who may not understand, right? At those moments, what we're going through in life, which is okay. So now let's talk about, mental health in this country, right? And especially for people who care and who want to succeed in their purpose.
Yes.
We always find ourselves like real fired up and passionate about things. How do we separate and balance? Like, what are some tips and things? I mean, we've talked about a few, but if there's anything else that you can, shed some light on.
Yeah, I would say, remain anchored in your purpose, right? And just because you haven't vocalized that to others doesn't mean that your purpose is non-existent. It could be just an internal fire.
Okay.
And making room and space for that to really practice. And you don't always have to monetize it either, right? So,
Oh gosh. Yes.
That part is very interesting to me in our world because, capitalistic society, it is what it is. We have bills to pay.
Mm-hmm.
I probably was like Miss Frizzle in another lifetime. I don't
Okay.
know. And so I love gift wrapping. I do Easter baskets. All of the things. And so I've been approached by people to say, hey, like I'll pay you to wrap, Christmas gifts this year, or to do XYZ. And it's like, but I do it because I enjoy it. It gives
Yeah.
me that creative, helps me exercise that creative muscle, that vision. And
Mm-hmm.
so know that it does not have to always be monetized, and you can say no.
Yeah.
No is a complete sentence.
Well, and like we were talking about this yesterday,
Hmm.
success and abundance doesn't necessarily mean how much money is in your bank account.
No, not at
And
all.
especially if you're creative and you're just creating art for the sake of doing it, like you're saying, of wrapping the gifts or for me, the ballroom, like,
Yes.
no, I'm not making money doing that.
No.
But it brings me joy. It brings me a self-centeredness of like finding that space that I can always come back to, grounding,
Yes, very much so.
keeping my mind and body like very attached,
Yes.
you know?
And I tell people, to your point about the mind body, it's a hyphenated word, it's a hyphenated phrase.
Yeah.
And so we want to extend that hyphen. You want it to become as long as possible to fortify that connection, mind body. The shorter it gets, it's fragmented, it's separated, and
Yeah. Easily cut off or
easily.
whatever. Yeah.
And there's no health without mental health, right? Like, and in the medical space and the healthcare space I operate in, a lot of times we traditionally have separated the head from the neck and the body, and it's like, no, I mean, gut, your primitive
Yes.
brain, but
Sure.
you need this. This is your CPU.
Yeah.
You need it. And to your comments about success and abundance. Abundance is breath. You inhale, you exhale, and you don't second guess that you'll do it again. So never second guess where your abundance is coming from or that it's going to dry up. That is how I want us to operate in life, in the same way that we have the audacity to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I like that. Well, and I find that when I am feeling most joyful and connected with myself, with that mind, body, and where the hyphen is the longest, I tend to actually attract the right opportunities, people, help, other joyful experiences
yes.
when I am in that state,
Yes.
which doesn't mean I'm over here busting my butt, being like, I gotta seal this deal and get this contract, and blah, 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 blah. No.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay to create time and space.
Yeah.
That emergent issue, it can wait. Someone jokingly said to me that emails are the to-do list for other people. You send in emails, and I was like, oh gosh, do I do that to other people when I'm sending my emails? So yeah, like being in alignment and knowing where you're guiding, what your purpose is, what brings you joy. Like, this brings me joy. Having a slow morning today and then coming here to do this brings me joy.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. I love sharing. I love showing people the other side, the behind the scenes of private practice or clinical work or helping others. It's not, I don't bite,
Yeah.
people think therapists bite. I don't bite. And I just love this, this platform and everything that you're doing and everything that you've done.
You're so sweet. No, I love it too. I'm so thankful, honestly, for my team. So shout out to Andres and Angela and the rest of the team at Revenant Films. Like, I couldn't do this without you guys, and that we couldn't have these really amazing opportunities to share, from other like-minded professionals in our community and support and boost you and the work that you're doing. I mean, we need to get more of you, right?
Oh, sure, I'd be happy to come back. I'd be happy to come back.
No, and look, mental health is just such a hot topic right now.
It is.
And really for all the right reasons, because we are living in a day and age and society where there are so many pressures and emergencies and fires to put out and all this stuff. And we really do need to reframe what success and abundance and living life's purpose is, truly.
Absolutely.
Without putting ourselves in a state of mental duress.
Yes, I would rather people not be in a state of disarray. I think something else that's happening that's in the undercurrent that's not actually verbalized as much is we're on the heels of coming out of a pandemic. And so the human experience is still iffy from that. People have experienced grief, loss, and not just of people, but of achievements. Or I had to graduate virtually. I couldn't walk across the stage. My wedding got
so many
postponed.
businesses had been, you know, gone,
Just shuttered.
just poof.
Completely gone. I mean, like family names at dinner table type situation, right? Just gone in the blink of an eye. And so as we're shifting out of that period and we're coming into this period where there's organizational change for the systems at the top, people are finding themselves in uncertain circumstances yet again. And so I want people to know, recenter yourself, go back to what brings you joy? Who are your people? And, family can be the family that you choose as well. Not just who runs in your blood.
Important. That is so important. I've learned that now over, the course of my life, but more so in the last few years.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's okay that we have to build our own networks and webs
Absolutely.
of our family, and it may not be our blood relative.
No, and that's okay too. The 3 a.m. friend, who's gonna pick up the phone at 3 a.m. when you call them?
Yeah.
Who's gonna be there? And I'm not talking about those that just sleep heavy, right? But the ones who really will pull up. Yeah.
Exactly. No. Well, I am just so thrilled to have you here. I think this conversation has enlightened me. I hope that it's also enlightened you guys, our viewership, and just, this is on now. Yes. It's on. We all owe it to ourselves to respect and honor ourselves, learn what really burnout versus anxiety versus depression looks like. And if you're feeling off, it's okay to ask for help and to reach out. Absolutely. And that's the number one message that I think today that we can all agree on.
Yes.
So Crystal, we have a little game that we play. If you don't mind, I would love to play along with you. It's called ping pong. I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and just so the viewers can get to know you a little bit better, and just very simple, easy answers. So nothing too crazy. Okay. Don't get nervous.
Okay. I'm sweating.
All right. So here we go. What is one word to describe your energy today?
Calm.
I love it. I love it. One guilty pleasure.
A guilty pleasure? Apple pie?
Ooh, that's actually my favorite too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Of all the pies, apple pie.
Apple, yes.
Approved. One habit that you're proud of.
Getting out. Okay, so networking. So this year I began to scroll through Eventbrite once a week for about an hour and a half. So I get to the 118th page.
Yep.
And figure out what event I can go to where I don't know anyone, like you said.
Yep.
It's new to me. It's cross industry. Has nothing to do with mental health per se. And really just get out there. I'm truly an introvert, and so it's a bit of a thrust and effort on my part. But
do things scared.
Yes, do it scared and do it anyway. And here we are.
I know, and we wouldn't have met if you hadn't been doing that. And I love Eventbrite for that.
Yes, I do.
Absolutely. Awesome. I love that. Okay, what is a favorite song to boost your mood?
Oh, there's so many. I love Beyonce's Schooling Life.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like it hits every, she talks about the decades as a woman and just moving through that. So I do appreciate
that. All the
that.
seasons.
Yes, all the seasons.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love Beyonce.
Yes.
So, all right. And last but not least, if you had a superpower, what would it be?
To be invisible.
Ooh, okay. I like that. Yeah. I could see that.
Yes, I could slide through and slinky and be a fly on the wall and listen, observe without being noticed.
Yes,
yeah.
That makes perfect sense given what you do.
Yes, I'm spying. Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining along with our fun and our ping pong. Now, Crystal, share with our viewers and listeners, where can they find you online?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hi, everyone. You can find me at PsycYourMind.com. There's no H on psych. I'm also on Instagram at @the_real_PsycYourMind and Facebook under Psych Your Mind. I also have a YouTube channel. So, it's been going on for probably 8 years, a little spotty, but there's some videos there that you may find helpful.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. All right, Crystal, thank you so much for being here. This was so enlightening. I can't wait to get together at another event and in the podcast studio. Thank you all for being here with us. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I have enjoyed recording it. And we look forward to seeing you guys online. So please like, share, and subscribe. I'm on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Please comment below if you really enjoyed this content. If you'd like to see and hear more from Crystal, I'd love to hear it in the comments. And we will see you guys next time in the next podcast taping. Thanks again for watching and see you soon. Bye.